Hello, beautiful rising community, and welcome to another session in the Passion, Purpose, and Prosperity series. Today, I have this guest with us. Her name is Beata Sifkovitz, and she's an award-winning business mindset coach and helps ambitious entrepreneurs to up-level their mindset and create more fun and flow in their business to achieve more revenue, impact, and freedom. She is the creator of the Passion-Driven Business Blueprint and host of the Passion to Profit Summit. So we are right on point here, and we want to talk about passion and profit. So welcome, Beata. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you for inviting me, and I'm very excited to dive into this conversation.
Right. So let's just start with a little bit of background. How did you end up doing what you're doing? So we have a little bit of a backstory to follow.
Perfect. So I think a lot of people at this moment of time go through a similar process of, working in the corporate world, having, the glamorous job, earning good money, but deep down realizing that something isn't quite right. So I had that for several years. By the end of my corporate career, I was head of Grey Goose and Bombay Sapphire for Middle East and Africa, which was a very glamorous job. I went to Cannes Film Festival for work. I went to, Bermuda and places like that. So traveling the world, and it was fun. There was a great perks to the job, but I more and more recognized that it wasn't really 100% aligned to me, and especially the day-to-day job. Yeah, the perks were amazing, but the day-to-day job, that wasn't me anymore. And it was very stressful. Ended up getting into burnout, and decided to just I'm based in Dubai, and I was talking to people in the company in Europe to move back there. But the job was going to be 2-3 months off. I was like, I really want to take some time out between the two jobs, make the most out of being in Dubai, because I've been working crazy hours, traveling like crazy. So I hadn't really had much time to actually really enjoy being here and seeing my friends before I leave and do a bit of personal traveling. And within a couple of weeks of not working, I realized I was never going to go back to a job. And it was almost like I hadn't seen the wood for the trees, because I was so into the rat race. I couldn't see what was right in front of me. So I had been interested in diving into the kind of personal growth industry since I was in my early 20s, like for about 10-15 years. Been so passionate about it. I've done courses, webinars, going on retreats, doing all the things, reading all the books, watching all the videos, but more as a hobby. And when I started having that time out, I was like, oh my God, I have built up such a rich wealth of knowledge and experience and wisdom in that field. That's what I'm meant to do. That's what I'm supposed to, now share with other people and help them find their own path in doing that, and their own purpose of really living an abundant life, not just monetary wise, but also like internally abundant. I don't think, for me, success is not the big house, but it's the big house and the freedom and the joy that we have every day. So that's kind of where I was 3 years ago when I started the company. And it's been an interesting journey and lots of ups and downs with, starting a company just before COVID, where I was going in a completely different direction. So it's been fun, it's been interesting, and I've learned a ton that I now really see what works with people. I see what doesn't. And one of the biggest learnings that I've had over the last 3 years specifically is, there's so much talk about that, you've got to be on it, you've got to, the 5 a.m. club and the 4-hour work week and this, that, and the other. And it's such a 24/7 hustle mentality as entrepreneurs. And I've just seen that that's actually not what works long term. That's not our purpose. That's not what we're supposed to do. Our biggest purpose in life is joy and is loving what we do every day. But we've completely forgotten about that. And we've been conditioned to thinking about, it's got to be hard. You've got to do all of these things in order to be successful. But that's success and happiness actually go hand in hand. And if you're not happy, we're not going to create the success that really fills us with fulfillment and gratitude and joy on a daily basis. So that's what most of my work is now all about.
Yeah, and before we dive into it, I love how you redefine success, right? Because I think this is a very important starting point, is to understand what success success actually means, right? Because it's not only one dimensional, it's not only monetary, it needs to really feel good in your body, in all your life circles, whether it's your relationships, whether it's your health and wellness, and it's really a holistic view. And I think that, especially coming from the corporate world yourself, but for most of us, because we are raised and shaped by the still patriarchal mindset, it's all about doing and hustling, and to shift gears into actually learning how to be and how to bring in the feminine aspect. This is quite something that I feel that we, especially as women, are starting to figure out and bring into the world of our work and our careers. So I would love to hear a little bit more about what is it that you do now? How do you help your clients?
So basically, I work with people who do everything for their business. They've thrown themselves into it. They have a certain amount of success, or are kind of building up to that. But I've kind of feel a bit lost in where they're at, whether they're in the early stages of business or already quite established. Like, okay, I went into business to have more. Most of us went into business because we were passionate about it, because we want to have more freedom, because we know entrepreneurship has a huge monetary potential as well. But then so often we find ourselves, a few years into that, and we're like, well, that's not how I expected it to be, and that's not really what my original intention is or was when I first started this. So it's kind of bring people back to the space of, I love what I do every day. I'm using my zone of genius. I, leverage the things that I'm good at, that I love doing. I have the freedom that I want, rather than feeling like, especially as entrepreneurs, it's so easy to get lost in the daily hustle. I'm happy I can take time out when I want to and what I want to also do the things outside of work that I love doing. I'm really leveraging kind of our skills, our passions and talents to get to the holistic success, rather than just the one-dimensional one. So it's really really looking into the clarity of where do we want to go? What does that mean for my everyday life? And secondly, but what is it that I'm really good at? What are my gifts? How can I make the biggest contribution and add the biggest value to my customers, clients, audience? And that's also the area where we're going to get the most reward from, but we so often don't step into it. It's easier said than done. That's why I work with people to really identify that.
Right, because especially as women, and I know for myself and for a lot of my clients, we are multi-passionate about quite a lot of things, right? And sometimes it's really hard to pinpoint what is it that I want to monetize or concentrate on, because I ultimately want to do everything.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely. I see that a lot as well. And then we've been so trained, and I've had coaches as well, like male coaches, who are like, no, you've got to focus on that one thing. That's your thing. You've got to build your business on that, and then you can move on. But like you said, there's so many things we're good at, so many things we want to do, and finding the unique path that is right for you, where you can combine all the different things and prioritize things maybe at different times, but making the most out of who you are uniquely. And what I have seen and what I've kind of got burnt with a lot as well was the cookie cutter approach. That this strategy, just do this to the T and follow it exactly, and you will have success. And it doesn't work for everyone. It might have worked for that person, and it might have worked for maybe some other people, but I don't think it's necessarily what's going to work for all of us, or what's going to be the most rewarding either. So I really work with people on identifying what is it that works for you. You know, what's your unique way to success, rather than, you know, doing all the things that we're told you've got to do, and or that one thing that you've got to do and it's going to clear everything. It's just not how business works these days, and that's not how we're going to have success in a fun way, rather than the, you know, the hustle.
Right. And it's really about bringing in that creativity and innovation to forge a path that is so unique, right?
Absolutely.
Right. And I know for me, I mean, my own example, you know, first of all, I've let go of a very successful business back in 2012. I had 50% shares with my brother in a sound equipment company, and I realized it's not my sole path. I just had this calling from spirit to let go of it. It was a long story. I let go of it close to nothing, which was really silly on my side. But anyway, that's done. And I took my family, I went traveling the world for 4 years. So that was kind of my like, okay, I'm going in a very different direction. And when I came back 6 years ago, I started going online. I had so much wisdom to share. I really went off the cliff, so to speak, in terms of my personal transformation and growth. And this is after 20 years of, as you said, geeking on books and retreats and workshops and what have you for personal development and spiritual development. And I was really ready to go out there, but I started stumbling upon what is it that I want to say, how to say it, where to go, what to do. And it's only now 6 years later that I finally feel that I have clarity about what I am here to do, which is really serving very different audiences, essentially. So, you know, I'm super passionate about transformation and serving people that are going through their own transformation in maybe the early stages, where they still clearing their childhood wounds and their you know, their limiting beliefs and their pain that they carry. But I'm also very passionate about helping those people that already went through the transformation and now ready to share the message and write best-selling books, and I support them in that. So it's very different, although I realize that it's got a continuum, right? It's still the same people that are ready to write the books have been gone through the transformation. So I'm literally kind of offering that whole journey. But for me, yeah, go ahead.
It will probably evolve even further over the next few years.
Precisely, and that's how it should also be, right? Because we are evolving.
Absolutely.
Right?
I love how you were pointing out kind of that it took time. You know, it takes time to identify that. And so many of us, and I was absolutely one of them, think that, you know, there's like a big white board somewhere in the sky that says, Beate, this is your purpose. And once I found that board, that it will be like, everything will fall into place. I know exactly what I need to do. I'll feel, you know, amazing, and everything will work out. And it just like chasing that board until I realized, like, that's not how it works. There isn't like a one thing that we're here to do. That it's an evolvement and a discovery of who we are, and it takes time and guidance and you know, exploration to identify what it is that we can really, you know, bring to the world and contribute, and also where we get our biggest rewards. And it does take time, but it's about curiosity and about, you know, enjoying the moments in between and the journey, like finding ways to enjoy the journey rather than being like, well, once I'm there, then everything will be fine. No, it can be fine right now. Not just fine, life can be awesome right now.
Right. I love it how you said that whiteboard. I was certainly looking for that whiteboard and could not find it. And then I realized that I'm actually the writer. I am the one to write what is going to be on that board. And it's up to me because I'm the co-creator. Nobody decided that for me. You know, I might have a bigger soul mission that, you know, maybe I had before even incarnating in this body, but it's really up to my creativity in the way that I express it. And it's about also becoming that person myself in that journey, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I love what you're saying about becoming as well. We so often also what I see with a lot of clients, you know, they set their goal and they are chasing after that goal, but forgetting that you first need, in order to achieve the goal, you need to become the person that can have that goal. And it's more about that than about actually reaching that goal. You know, it's about not, of course, we all want to, you know, we have monetary goals, we have, you know, personal goals, but it's more about what you do to get there rather than the actual tick. You will tick it off if you know, if you follow your own path, if you get out of your comfort zone, which is a whole nother subject. If you know, really trust yourself, we learn to identify what works for you, what doesn't, what, you know, what your path is, especially, then it's the goal is just secondary. That's like, oh yeah, awesome, amazing, great, I've got this massive business now. Oh great, I've lost all this weight now, or whatever the goal is. But it's more about becoming the person. That's the biggest gift in goal setting, I believe.
Right, and it's an inner journey, you know, first. And so we first have to align our vibration. We first have to uplift our frequency so that we can match, we be an energetic match to what is it that we call in, right? So it's from the inside out. And the goal is there to navigate us towards what we have to uplift, to do that inner work, to become that which can achieve that goal.
Absolutely. And we can only achieve it if we become it. So we can't just sit here and wait and it's like, oh, I'm not achieving my goal, I'm not achieving my goal. But how have you changed? What have you done to grow into that goal? It doesn't just come to you. You have to come to it, basically.
Right. So the good news is good news and bad news, right? The bad news is that, you know, nobody will do it for you. And the good news is that it is in your hands and it is your responsibility. So that gives you that power, that you are the empowered creatrix of what is it that you're here to create. And yeah, it's a process. And that's why I want to say that when we do our soul work, however we choose to express it, so there's no right or wrong ways, and it can change and evolve, and you know, as we change and evolve. But essentially what we are doing is our soul work from the inside out, whereas when we're working for a boss or we're working in a corporate world, there isn't so much of that exchange, right?
So I had to really learn that as well, because I was so conditioned to be told what to do and to be told what I had to achieve. And, you know, these are my goals were given to me rather than, you know, me creating them. And then I was learning to like actually now creating your own goals and finding your own path and identifying the right strategy for yourself and the right tools, tactics, actions to take, because there's nobody else who does it. It's but learning to do that, because so for me, for a long time, I was always looking outside for, you know, how do I move forward? How do I do this? How do I do that? Somebody just tell me what to do. Because that's how I'd lived most of like all my other life. But going back to, no, I know it's in there. I need to look at myself rather than externally of what's the right next step. You know, what's the best strategy for me? And that took quite a long time, because it was so kind of almost like maybe wanting to be saved, you know, like when I didn't even realize it at the time. That took a lot of like shadow work, inner work as well. Like, hang on here, I'm waiting for someone or something to save me. No, actually, I'm my own savior. I've got all the answers I need, and I've got people that can help me find those and help me go deeper and bring them out. Other coaches and mentors, for example. But it's I've got to do it, and you've got to learn how to do it as well. It doesn't come like that. It's a process in itself.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I really strongly believe that coaches and mentors, the aligned ones, are, you know, tremendously important, because they can save time. It's a shortcut to get where you need to get, instead of you doing trial and error forever, and trying to learn from, you know, all the free resources that is scattered all over the internet. And there is a lot. I mean, we live in the age of so much noise and so much resources out there that it can be also confusing. And now you start to sift through it and what actually should you take on and in what sequence and how to implement it. And so I really feel that a coach that has gone through the journey you want to go through and has the results and have been there, because you can only really take people to the extent that you have been to, and you know, working with somebody in that capacity can really be such a great shortcut, right?
Absolutely. And not just a shortcut, sometimes you just like miss things. Like I always say, you know, the best brain surgeon in the world can't operate on himself. There's, you know, there's things you might miss for your whole life if sometimes someone doesn't put an objective mirror in front of you and say like, hang on, that's bullshit. Hang on, there's a limiting belief there that's been holding you back. Or actually, did you realize that you're really, really good at this? Because we often don't notice the things that we're really good at because they come so easily and naturally to us that we think, oh, truly everyone, you know, finds it easy and that like it just comes to us. So if somebody can say, no, actually, this is what you've got to do. It's like, oh yeah, then like, which sometimes I wouldn't have even have noticed or recognized. That's just super helpful and helps you not just move faster, but also get deeper into yourself.
Right. Yeah, it's so true. You know, I like to call it our golden shadow. It's what we have that is so very natural to us that we overlook it as a divine gift and as a talent, because we just, you know, we often think that unless it's very tangible, like we can go on stage and sing or we can go and dance and it's, you know, very almost quantifiable, right? People will say, oh, you've got a singing talent, you should sing. Unless it's very defined like that, we kind of overlook what we actually have. And often we need somebody to remind us and point our blind spots, as you said. Right. And so I've got a question. So say somebody is now transitioning or thinking of transitioning from their either corporate job or other job, and they want to start getting their message, their transformation. They know within themselves that they have something to offer. They've been through it themselves. They have managed to get some results or solve a problem, and they kind of just checking out what is it that they should do. What would be your best advice to start?
Firstly, start looking at your vision. You know, I know, and especially as entrepreneurs, we tend to have a vision somewhat, because otherwise we wouldn't be going into business. If we didn't have like a big why and something that we want to bring to this world, we wouldn't necessarily start this journey. So entrepreneurs usually have a vague idea of their vision, but very few have a very clear vision. And you know, having that is really magnetizes the resources, the people, the ideas that you need to bring it to life. So getting really clear on that, and that is the first step, and that's a big chunk of the work that I do with people as well. Because yeah, it's easy to say, yeah, I want to do good in the world, or I want to create a successful platform, or I want to help people overcome this and this. But what does that look like? You know, how could you picture it? How could you film that? So look into how can you make this quite intangible concept of a vision really tangible. So that's the first step, I would say.
So just to understand that, writing down the why and how do you see things manifesting in the future, or a little bit more practical things of how to do it?
So I always take some time out usually, and then that's really important as an entrepreneur as well, to, you know, not just be the doing, but also be more kind of stepping up into the kind of CEO position, even if you're just one person, and really taking time out, take an afternoon. And, you know, I start with a meditation, and, you know, and then really set the intention before the meditation of, you know, what do I want to bring to this world? What do I want my life to look like? Being open to the answers to come. After that, I start journaling. And after that, I then put it into a bit of maybe a statement, I would say. And then I write down kind of what does success look like? You know, what's the vision? What do I want to contribute? What's my mission? You know, what am I going to put out there? but also what does success look like for me? What does my life look like? Not just, what's out there, but also what's here. How many hours do I want to work? Yes, how much money do I want to make? What are the kind of people I want to be dealing with? Not even just clients, but who are the people I want to have on my team? Who are the people I want to network with or collaborate with? So getting really specific on that is it's quite a process, and it isn't not just that one afternoon. It can sometimes take months to really come to that point of this is what I want to. This is my kind of North Star. So that's kind of the first process, and I have certain processes that I take my clients to really get to that quickly, so we can start the ball rolling and then evolve that vision as we go. And then secondly is really identifying your zone of genius. What is it what's that golden shadow that you just mentioned? I love that word, by the way. I'm totally going to steal it. I'm going to reference you, no worries. So what's the things that what's your talents, your passions, your skills that you've already built, and identifying so there's the Pareto's law that 80% of our results come from 20% of the work we do. So firstly, identifying what are those 20% of strategy, tactics and processes that will create the biggest results, and then using your zone of genius to create those 20%, because then you don't just have the most fun, because that's usually what you love doing the most and what you're really good at, so it comes easy and naturally to you, but it's also where you're going to make the biggest impact. So really identifying how you to use your zone of genius to do those 20% and identify your unique strategies, tools and practices that will have the biggest impact. That's really a key driver. So identifying your zone of genius is really, really important. And I'll share that I have a free gift that I'm going to share as well that will help you. That's a process that you can do over a couple of weeks to really help you narrow that down a little bit more. To what is that zone of genius that will be able to, and it's it's easy to say, yeah, just step into your zone of genius, but that can also be quite scary. Because we don't believe it can be that easy. We believe it's got to be hard work. If we don't do all the hours, if we only focus on things we love, that's just not how business works. But it is. So it's overcoming those limiting beliefs as well. There is always way to outsource. There's always ways to find a way around it, to let go of the things that are not in your zone of genius. And a lot of people don't believe that happens. But I've worked with so many clients, and every single time we find a way to let go of the things that really bog us down, that keep us busy rather than being, really productive.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Sometimes our zone of genius, we also deep inside are afraid of our success, of our bright light, right? If we still very much care about what other people will say and how they're going to judge us, if we are worried that we maybe gonna make some people jealous, or we're gonna have more money and that means more responsibility, or it means that maybe people that are close to us will move away, or these also all layers that we have to kind of look at and break, so that they don't become our blocking, right?
So that's then the whole mindset piece.
Yeah. So that is the work that is the foundation to what we want to do. And now I think that many people that go into business don't really realize that these are few hats they have to wear, right? I think we get a little bit too excited about this desire and this passion and this message we so want to share, and all the goodness that we want to share and give other people. And the reality of it is that it's not only the message and the expertise or the experience that we've been through, it is also being the CEO of the company, managing the company, as you said, and it's also being the marketer of your company, which is a whole other
development,
right, on its own. I mean, I never knew that I need to become a marketer expert to actually get my message out.
And a salesperson.
And a salesperson.
And a finance person.
Exactly. So these many hats that we have to wear when we go out there and start our own business. Do you want to maybe talk a little bit about that and how to juggle all those hats and yeah, how can we handle it in a way that is not overwhelming and it's not bringing us to overkill or burnout?
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of outsourcing or finding ways around it. So, there's always, even if you don't have much money, there is a way that you can find something that, that an intern, for example, or, Fiverr is super cheap. There's always ways that you can outsource the things that you don't want to do. But I also think that you need to learn all of them, at least to a certain degree, before you outsource it. So I have that philosophy. I work with my clients. That's how I've also done it. It's like, I learn it so I know what I'm doing and I can instruct other people and I can, write a good brief, because that's really important as well. When you work with people, you need to be able to give really clear instructions. Otherwise, everyone's doing something and it doesn't really fit together. So that you know what you're doing, you've got an understanding of it, and then pass it on. So, when you are wearing all those hats, learn it to a degree, and then let go of it and find ways to be able to whether outsource it or find ways around it, or find a system or a tool that does it for you, so you don't have to spend too much time doing it, because there's lots of automated systems that do great jobs these days that will literally take a job away from us. So I always say learn the basics and then find ways to around it.
Right. And so so the truth bomb, right, dropping that, is that it's actually a journey that takes time, right? There's no magic, I'm going into business and I'm a success overnight kind of scenario, although it might happen. It's not outrule it, with divine intervention and magic, and I don't know, maybe you did something really good in your past lifetime and you now rewarded this easy route. Maybe it's possible, but for the most of us, it is a journey that takes dedication, that takes showing up every day, learning a lot of new skills, being willing to get out of that comfort zone, be willing to grow slowly over time, right? And take that time needed. We also have to invest some money in our business.
Absolutely.
Right? So we can't start a business. This is also a myth that we really need to understand, that we can create a business, and then when we get income from the business, then we start growing in other areas. And it's when you're going to study something, a profession or an expertise, that you have to first spend the money to go study it before you can earn from it, right? So it's the same when you go and you do your business. You will have expenses. You will maybe need a coach, a mentor, some programs you need to use, some time to get you by where there's no sales and there's no clients yet, when you're figuring things out, and expect that business is like life. It's got its ebbs and flows, its ups and downs, its good days and worst days, right?
Yeah. So what I always say, that the quicker you can learn how to emotionally detach from your business, the more resilient and the more sustainable and the more successful your business will become. Because yes, absolutely, there's ups and downs, but the more you can flatten those ups and downs, the longer you can go and the more you will get in reward as well. So that's like, I have a certain method I work with clients with as well, that helps them really, when the ups and downs come, to kind of regulate that and seeing the bigger picture rather than what's happening right here, right now, and what's causing their feelings. So really, thinking about, it's not just that thing that's happening right now that's causing that, but there's, it's a lot bigger, and that's a whole nother conversation. But there is no bad and good, like we just judge it as that. So helping them really see the gifts of the challenges as well. And we cannot, like we were talking about, the only way to success is through growth, and the only way to grow is through challenges. We don't grow when things are just like running perfectly and then we have handed opportunities. We only grow through the challenges. So really understanding that and using them rather than having to learn the lesson over and over again and not being able to get out of the challenges, but really identifying what's the gift here? How can I use this quickly to propel me forward and to propel me upwards? So that's a big part of the work that we all need to do when we get into business as well.
Right. And know that failures are bound to happen. They are part of the success. As you said, that's when we learn the most. I
would say if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough.
Exactly. Because failing really ultimately humbles us on our knees, and we are then searching for answers. We are then maybe calling for help. We then, have to analyze what happened. We have to really draw the insights. So yeah, this is just part of the journey.
Yeah. Absolutely. And like you mentioned before, it's believing in yourself enough that you're willing to take a risk. Because if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else will. And you're not going to make any sales. Nobody's going to come to you. No, if you don't believe in yourself, then you might as well not even do it. And the best way to believe in yourself and to prove to yourself that you believe that this is going to work is by taking risks and by putting yourself out there and also investing money in it. So you really have put your stake down on it. Like, no, I believe in this so strongly that I'm willing to pay this chunk of money just to get some guidance or to get someone to do my website really well rather than just trying to DIY it. So that is such a big signal to yourself, to your subconscious, and our subconscious creates 95% of our reality. So the more we can get our subconscious on board, the quicker we'll be able to move forward. And that is such a big being willing to take risks is such a big signal to the subconscious mind.
Right. And I just want to say, as we wrap up this conversation, that on the other side of it, right, let's paint the picture that when you are able to master some skills and to grow and to really get your message out there in a way that sustains you, that feels abundant in your time freedom, in your money freedom, in the work that you do that really touches people's life. I mean, the fulfillment is beyond, right? Yeah. It's so worth the journey. It's so worth the
nothing like it.
The way.
Yeah, there's nothing like it. There's money can't buy experience. That's
right.
And I've had so many glamorous things and experiences in my life through through my job, etc., and also personal stuff that I've done. But what happens when something really works in your business and when that's thriving, that is just something else. But
yeah. So on that positive note, let's wrap up the conversation. Can you tell us where people can find you, follow you? We also are going to have links down below, and also about your beautiful free gift that you're offering our audience.
Perfect. So I'm mostly active on LinkedIn and on Instagram. I'm the only person with that name, so just put that name in, my name in. That's hopefully somewhere on the screen, and you will find me easily. And yeah, the free gift is a Zone of Genius tracker that will really help you identify what it's a process that takes a couple of weeks, but it's really simple to implement and really helps you identify what it is and gives you some tips on how to step into that more and more, so you can really leverage that to create the biggest impact for your clients, your audience, your customers, and for your business and yourself as well. And have fun, have fun doing business. It's not, like I said earlier, I think our biggest purpose in life is joy, experiencing joy. And so that will help you achieve more and more of that. And you can find it at beatecoaching.com/Zone of Genius.
Right. And we'll have the link below. And this is such a delicious gift. I think we all want a confirmation. Even if we think we know what is our Zone of Genius, we still want that, kind of, yes, it is that. And that always feels confirming and affirming. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for this enlightening conversation. And until the next time we meet, blessings on your path and all that you do and bring into the world, and lots of love from myself and the Rise team.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I can't wait to see what other conversations are appearing on the summit, and want to share the best vibes with everyone that's watching and listening.
Thank you. And for you, audience, lots of love and ciao for now.